Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Atheist Experience. My name is Ray Blevins. This is Joe Zamecki and Don Rhoades. This is going out to you live February 22nd. This is a live call-in show. We'll be having the number flash up here shortly. I just want to point out that if you're watching it on Sunday 22nd, feel free to call in. I'd like to make a few announcements here about the Atheist Community of Austin. Next Sunday is our second lecture in our lecture series. It'll be John Coons. This is at Furs Restaurant at North Cross Mall. It's free and open to the public. It'll be 11 o'clock. That's when we told everybody to come, right?
In the Longhorn Room.
The Longhorn Room, thank you.
Right.
Yes, that's around back. Just mention that you're there for the series, the lecture, and they'll point you to the right room. And Joe, did you have a couple announcements maybe for the atheist American Atheist?
Well, just a few things, not necessarily American Atheist.
Oh, okay, but a few news articles.
Or atheists in general.
Okay.
A couple of things. Well, this is an ongoing situation in Waynesville, North Carolina. Our man Richard Shore, an atheist in Waynesville, North Carolina, has been fighting 10 Commandments being posted in courtrooms and is actually making some progress. This is from Phoenix, Arizona's The Arizona Republic, Sunday, January 18. A little bit old, but, you know, the same thing. 87-year-old Richard Shore has been called a curmudgeon, a crank, a cold-hearted troublemaker, and even a disciple of Satan. Well, he's actually getting a lot done. He's challenged the presence of the Word of God in the Haywood County Courthouse in Waynesville, North Carolina. In a federal lawsuit, he is demanding that 2 marble tablets listing the 10 Commandments be removed from the main courtroom, where they've hung on the wall right behind the judge's chair ever since the place was built in 1931. Well, he's claiming they violate the First Amendment guarantee the government will not endorse a particular religion, and he's an atheist. Well, he's making some headway, some progress, but there's been some opposition, of course. In 1994, when he originally filed his lawsuit, about 30,000 people, 2/3 of the population of Waynesville, signed a petition urging the county to fight the suit. One county commissioner actually vowed to go to jail before he would allow the 10 Commandments to be taken down. So this is a hot issue.
That's pretty amazing that one man would stand up against a community of 60,000, I guess. Well, 90,000, they're saying a third of them there, so
Yeah.
that's a fairly good community.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and then him to stand up. So we definitely applaud your effort out there. What's his name again?
Richard Shore, S-U-H-R-E.
We feel that that is definitely a clear violation of the separation of church and state. And there's so many controversies exactly what the 10 Commandments are. They have different religions have their own ideas of what the 10 Commandments are. It would be different if they were like 10 laws that were on the books.
Right. Yes.
But there's no law against adultery on the book that I'm sure that's definitely grounds for divorce. But I can't see being arrested for it or anything like that. So, but that is this just points out one of many states where this is going on.
It's happening in several states.
Indiana, we was talking about going on in Indiana.
Alabama.
We've wrote letters here about the 10 Commandments here at our state capitol. Our state capitol has it right out there in the front, the backyard. I almost said the front yard, but it's right there in the back. And we feel that that is not the proper place to be displaying a religious icon such as that. And we do have some other articles here. Don, and you brought up an article.
Well, the man we were just talking about is engaged in a fight over freedom of and freedom from religion, the separation of church and state. And there is an important issue that's going on right now with the so-called Religious Freedom Amendment. The wording of the amendment, as I have it here, and I believe, and this is from an Atheist of Florida newsletter, and I believe this is the correct wording of the Ishtuk Amendment, is to secure the people's right to acknowledge God according to the dictates of conscience. Neither the United States nor any state shall establish any official religion, but the people's right to pray and to recognize their religious beliefs heritage, or traditions on public property, including schools, shall not be infringed. Neither the United States nor any state shall require any person to join in prayer or other religious activity, prescribe school prayers, discriminate against religion, or deny equal access to a benefit on account of religion. Now, this seems to have very wide support, and I mean, who could not be in favor of religious freedom? What we are seeing, what we feel, and we have a lot of allies in the religious community also, is that this is an attempt to do several things. One is to exclude religious groups from public laws. For example, if it's part of my religion to smoke peyote, for example, this would make that legal. If it's part of my religion to have a sacrifice, and that's not common in Austin, Texas, but there's a lot of that still goes on. Then the right to exercise my religious traditions on public property will be protected. It's also seen as a Trojan horse to get prayer back in school. Now, I don't know how most people feel about religious liberty. It's probably not as important, as central, a basic issue to the average person as it is to somebody that's in a religious minority. But to us, prayer in school is something that's just fundamental. It's very difficult to see how that's a good thing to do. So please, if you feel as we do that the Religious Freedom Amendment should be defeated, please feel free to call your representative and let him know how you feel.
Call us too. We have our phone number right there. You can call us. We're live. The phones might be working even.
Yes, last week we had a little bit of problem there, and we have this is February 22nd, and like I said, if you're watching us live February 22nd, feel free to call us in, and we're discussing the Religious Freedom Amendment as one of many times. It was an interesting point you brought up that they could actually bring in. I would be totally opposed to Satanism going on in my child's classroom. And basically that's what it sounds like. They're just as offended at Satanism as I would be, doing the communion or whatever else. It opens the door to all this. It seems to me.
And let's not forget that we in America enjoy tremendous religious freedom right now. We won't claim it's perfect, but we really like the First Amendment and the tradition of the separation of church and state. And not only has it been good for us, we have the most vital and successful church communities in the world by far. And part of what's working for them is separation of church and state. The government doesn't get involved. They can, if you want to start a church, you are given extremely wide latitude. The government's not going to look in your books. A lot of things are allowed to go on that wouldn't be in other enterprises because of separation of church and state. So it's good for them, it's good for us, and I say don't mess with it.
And, are we having a problem with the microphones? Oh, okay. We do have a caller here. Let's give the caller a try here.
Good morning,
caller.
Good morning.
Scott?
Are you there?
Yes, I can just barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, you want me to speak up?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you not hear me on the TV?
I don't think you're coming through on the TV, but I can hear you. What is your question?
Oh, I didn't have a question. I was just telling you guys to keep up the good work.
Well, thank you.
But I was going to tell you a story about me being forced to pray when I was in third grade at a public school in Lawton. But if you're having difficulty over the phone, don't worry about it. It was just a reason thing that changed my life and made me realize that forced prayer or that kind of shit is wrong. So keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate it. You have a good day now.
All right, peace.
We need the monitors louder in here. We heard it once she opened the door there. Actually, what we need the monitors turned up in here, I think is what happened. And this is the fun thing about live TV. We're still trying to get all the bugs worked out here. And I see the lines are flashing here, so please call. We have a call screener in there. She'll answer the call for you. Let me remind the folks there, we meet every Sunday after we leave here. It's 10:30, 10:30, 12, about how long the meetings last, down at Jumbo Bakery, down on West 5th and Lavaca. And we have an open discussion about current events, what's going on with our group. We was talking about the blood drive, things like that we try to organize. We have social events we try to organize, and it's free and open to the public. You don't have to be
non-superstitious.
There we go. Agnostic. Sure.
A few of us are going down to the Central Texas Blood Bank on North Lamar on April 11, a Saturday. They're open from 10 to 2. And we're going to go down there as atheists, members of Atheist Community of Austin, and give some blood. It's a real good thing to do for the community and for people in general, we feel, and humanitarian thing to do. Right around that weekend, too. I don't know, if you know what weekend that is. Anyway.
But I'm sure we'd have no problem. Any atheist out there that needs any blood, contact us. If we can help you out, we will help. We're trying to help out fellow atheists. And then who knows, our atheist blood might actually end up in a Christian someday and help convert them there. Who knows?
Work just as well.
We have another caller here. Let's try line 1 here with Darrell, I think. Caller?
Hello.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah.
How you doing? Can you speak up, please?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not a complete Christian.
All right.
I don't go to church, but I do believe in God, and I do believe that there may be some reason why you're having problems with this phone and this TV.
Thanks for the bit of humor, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm just curious. I've never talked to an atheist before.
Sure.
And I'm wondering, where does your belief come from? Because let me answer the reason why my belief comes from God. Because I believe in God.
Hey, there, we got the monitors working in there. Fantastic.
It's going now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you the reason why I believe in God.
Okay.
There was a point in my life where I didn't believe, and I was, pretty much just up to do what you want to do and have fun in life, and screw everything else. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well,
I was up to that point. I was a teenager.
Right.
I went to church with my mom one day. I pretty much forced to, and they did the hands-on and all that, and I never believed in the Benny Hill or whatever where he could just touch you and you fall down, but it worked, and my mom did it, and she didn't even touch me. It was just from a distance, and I was out, and I felt this thing come into my soul and grab me, and so now I believe in God. I still don't go to church. I don't read my Bible, but yeah,
you
I
consider
totally
yourself
believe,
a Christian though, or whatever is what you're saying.
Yeah, I still have a Christian belief, and I'm just wondering. I know in my life why I believe. I'm wondering why you guys don't.
All the evidence that I have in my daily life and all the education I has no support whatsoever for any supernatural being whatsoever outside this universe that we can't touch, see, smell, or whatever else. Your laying on hands experience there, I'm sure was a personal highlight for you, but there's no, it was all emotional that could have easily been recreated through chemical responses in your body. And science now can actually recreate the quote religious experience through chemical effects.
Okay, I get your little point there, and I can see where you wouldn't in certain areas have anything in your life to believe to help you believe, but.
Well,
that's really not it. It's not that we don't have anything to believe in. It's just that we've come to a different conclusion than you have, and I respect your opinion. I mean, if that's your belief, if you believe there's a God, then I would advise you to take it seriously. But I've thought about the facts and come up with a different conclusion. It's not that I don't believe about anything, that I don't have any ethics or anything like that. It's just on this one point about the supernatural world, I've come to a different conclusion.
Okay. Well, did you have something else to say?
Joe did.
Well, we atheists in general have found a better thing than belief, and that is knowledge.
Thank you. That's what I was getting ready to say. Thank you.
When you ask an atheist what he believes, actually, it's kind of a double-edged question to an atheist. We look at reality and what is proven to be in reality and find nothing in superstition is backed up by any evidence even coming close. That's number one reason for me why I don't believe in a God or gods, is because there's no proof of it. It's nothing to do with my emotions or my opinion. It has nothing to do with it. If it's proven, then it's real. If it's not, then we discard it and do not rely upon it. And the number two reason why I don't believe in a God or gods is because religion has caused so much misery and suffering to the world. But that's me.
Well, I appreciate your call, caller.
Hey, I got one more thing for you.
Quickly?
It's gonna be quickly.
Sure.
I can understand now. I was just flipping through the channel and I happened to see your show, and I can understand now sort of where you're coming from, and I'm glad that you are open to my contribution to your show, and I hope you all find happiness, whatever it's in, and hopefully it goes towards the right thing. And I can't say that my idea is the right thing, but I'm glad you put me on. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a good day.
You have a good day. Yes.
And before we proceed,
Sure.
let me just remind everybody that if you are one of us and you're seeing this for the first time, or you just want to pass along a comment privately, our voicemail is 371-2911 here in Austin.
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Feel free to call and leave us a message. We do check it. And if you leave us a number and address, we can get back to you.
And then our website?
Our website, check it out, www.atheist-community.org.
Yeah.
Showing that again a little later.
All right, and we have, looks like we have Jennifer here. Good morning, caller.
Hey, guys.
Good morning.
I have two questions, but
Sure.
the first question is, where do you think you're going to go when you die? What do you think? Do you think there's life after death, or
No.
There is no life after death.
You're just dead?
Yes.
Physically dead, right? Now, by saying physically dead, I don't mean that I think there's a soul that goes on, because frankly I don't. But I think your actions have a life of their own, if that makes sense. That the things you do in your life can continue on.
Can live on.
If you have a positive effect on a child, that outlives you.
And your ideas.
And if you build something, those kind of things outlive you. But physically, that's one of the pitfalls of being a living being, is they come into existence and they pass out of existence.
And my other question is,
Sure.
What would you do if someone had a gun to your head? Well, most people would say, "Oh God, please help me."
Oh, okay.
What would you do?
I wouldn't pray, yeah.
And I think you all would break down
And start praying?
and ask God to help you. I bet you would. I don't think you all are true atheists. I think
That's a good question. And let me assure you that you are incorrect. You are totally
I would not be. I would not be praying. That's an interesting scruples question there. How about yourself, Joe?
Well, I've been in situations where there was a lot of duress, a lot of pressure like that. Not having a gun to my head necessarily, but in situations where a person will be pushed to the edge mentally, psychologically. I think that's the point being made. And I found that myself being alone in that situation, if I was, then I was the person I should be looking to for help. I am the person I should be depending upon. And that goes along with personal responsibility. I think a lot of the atheist philosophy centers around people being able to make decisions for themselves without having to resort to a third party in a situation who initially hadn't had anything to do with it up until that point. And as far as life after death, I really didn't have any problem not existing before I was born. It didn't bother me at all a bit. And when I die, my physical body, since we have this ability to choose whether we're going to be cremated or buried, I'd like to be cremated, so there's really no doubt. Okay.
Any other points while you're on the line?
No, I like your show. I'm a Southern Baptist, but I watch your show, and I'm very open to new ideas.
Thank you.
So
let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt your life was in danger?
Sure have.
Ooh.
Okay. Were you frightened?
I sure was.
Why?
I guess not knowing the unknown and not knowing where I'm going to go, but I prayed about it, and
I thought you were going to heaven. Why would you?
Well, you know what? Even though I'm religious, I think that I'm not ready to die yet. I don't think anyone is ready to die yet. So that's why.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate the points like that, because this reminds me of a little story that just happened here just past this week. I've been an atheist for a while. I was an agnostic, is what I introduced myself at until I came down here to Austin. And it's just little things you say in your life. I was talking about how happy I was, and I said I was in heaven. And the person pointed out, I was like, wait a minute, aren't you an atheist? And I was like, yeah, you're right. That just sort of slipped out. See, it's in your speech without even thinking about it, So now that I am a pronounced atheist, out in the open like that, all my friends are pointing out the little faults and things like that, and I appreciate it. It helps me. And it's like, you're absolutely right. There was no need for me to be. I need to come up with a better expression than that.
Are you all from Austin?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I just moved here like a year ago. I never ever met an atheist, or it's just a little different here for me. But I mean, hey.
Well, come on down to our meetings.
No, thank you.
Well, then you can watch us every Sunday morning, 9 a.m., just like this.
And feel free to call in anytime. You have a good day now.
You too. Bye.
Thank you for your call.
That was a real nice call.
Very
Yeah.
nice Southern Baptist. Okay.
Absolutely.
We have all kinds of calls flashing here. And my floor manager is getting ready to give me a notice here, so we will be taking another. And we definitely enjoy all your calls out there. And let's go. Randy on line 1 here. Let's give it a try.
Hello?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good morning, Randy.
Good morning. How you doing?
Real good.
Doing good.
This is my question.
Sure.
All right. Religious people sin against God, right? You understand that?
Religious people stand.
Yeah. I mean, you understand the concept of sin, right?
Of sin?
Sin. Oh, sin. I thought you said stand against God.
No.
We
So
hear
all.
many different things about sin, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you what do you how do you consider a sin, like, as an atheist?
Well, a sin to me, the definition of sin is breaking the rules of God. So I don't acknowledge sin, but there are still things that are wrong. I mean, it's in the Ten Commandments that thou shalt not steal. I think stealing is wrong, but I don't think it's a sin. I just think it's wrong. Does that make any sense?
Technical term.
Caller?
Yeah, caller.
Oh, I thought we lost you there for a minute.
I was just listening.
Oh. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Sin is actually a religious word that we don't, and a religious concept that we just don't.
We don't acknowledge. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we have laws.
You just don't acknowledge the word. You acknowledge
Right.
the meaning, right? I mean,
Right.
Morality
and
or
more,
ethics.
socially,
We have ethics. Many people wonder that about atheists. We have ethics, and we don't need a religion for that. Ethics being what morals are without the religion.
I understand that. The reason why I asked that is because I'm sure all three of you were probably religious before you became atheists.
I was.
Yeah. I was
You
baptized.
understand why I asked the question?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. And we get that a lot, and that's why we have the open forum to let the people know that.
Because I mean, you probably had to, change your ways about, thinking as far as that goes.
Yes.
So we did a lot of thinking, too.
So, would you like to ask anything else?
No, that's about it.
Well, you have a good day now.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Call.
Charles?
Okay, we'll go to Charles.
Morning, Charles.
Hello?
Caller?
You there?
Caller?
Let's do.
Okay, we're out of here. Let's try.
Hello?
Caller?
Yeah.
Good morning.
What we got?
Can you answer a question for me?
Sure can. We'll try.
When you're sick, laid in bed, do you ask God to help you?
Never.
Never. So what do you do?
I
Cough syrup, aspirin.
No.
go to a medical doctor.
Or get out and do something for ourselves, by ourselves. How about that?
Is that right?
And
So you never. So one of your major words when you're mad or something is you say "God damn."
It's a figure of speech, indoctrination brings people to talk about God, but we don't have to believe in it in order to slip up with our speech like that.
yeah.
And we occasionally do. I mean, it is part of the language. Religion is part of the language. And
Is it now?
it's,
Alrighty.
it's
Thank you
hard
much for your
to
time.
totally shake it off.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That was a quick caller. But there's still a lot of science that we don't understand, and I do believe that the mental outlook that you have will actually increase your chances of healing. That the mind has a tremendous power over the
Oh,
body.
yes. Positive attitude is
Yes,
important.
and,
That's being proven.
Yeah. So if prayer gives you that positive attitude, more power to you. But we're not going to deny you folks out there the right to pray. If you're on your sick bed at home in your house and you're praying, More power to you. But we just won't be doing it. We see several callers here. Keep calling. The lines are all lit, and my floor manager will be telling me here.
Can we say our voicemail number again while we're waiting for our fourth person?
Sure. If you're wanting to leave us a message on our voicemail, the number is 371-2911. 371-2911. If you're an atheist, write that down. We need to get connected up.
Yes. Okay. Gil on line 4 is what we're going to try.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hi, I got a question for y'all.
Sure.
What is your socio-political belief? Are y'all Marxists?
No, we got... Again, I should point this out. This is the atheist community of Austin. We're just a small group. We are not trying to represent every atheist out there.
Oh.
And in our group, we have Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians. I don't know of any Marxists in the group at this point.
I don't know either, but I'm sure there are Marxist atheists in the United States.
Yeah, just the reason.
Atheists are extremely diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that most people don't learn it from their parents. They pick it up in life. So it's wherever you start from. There is only the beginnings of an atheist culture. There are individuals, and we are all very different.
What about yourself?
Huh? Oh, what about myself? I believe in God. I'm a deist.
Okay.
Okay. Do y'all have maybe an existential view of it? You know, like when Nietzsche said God is dead, but he meant it like God has no, how can I say it, like influence in man's existential existence, something like that. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, but we're taking it one step further and saying that God never existed.
Okay.
There will never be a God. What I understand what you were just saying there, that they were saying God invented this and then just let his creation run wild, and then man's to the point where he no longer needs him. We're saying that God was never existed, that it was just something man grew up in his infancy trying to explain scientific answers with.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure.
Sorry,
you said you were a deist?
Say again? Hey, let me
you
turn
were
it up.
a deist?
What I mean by that, just I believe in God. I guess I believe in Christian values and some Christian principles, but I believe in God.
Okay, the reason I ask is that there was a very influential movement in the 18th century called deism that was very popular around the time of the American Revolution, and I was just curious if you were.
No, I've never heard about that.
Washington. Many of the founding
Jefferson,
fathers.
Madison. What the essentials were that, and these people they didn't say they were unreligious. They felt very free to associate, go to church, whatever. But it was, and I believe Locke was one of the founders of it. That there must be a God because of the complexity of creation. So it had to be created. But everything else they pretty much set aside, and it wasn't a personal God kind of thing. When you see writings where they use terms like providence and the Creator as opposed to Lord and Savior and stuff like that, that's the influence there, and it was a positive. Really influence.
So what you're saying, it was like they believed in God, but they weren't tied down with like Christian doctrine or any kind of religious.
That's right. They most of them, I believe, accepted that Jesus was a historical character and that he was a good person, but not that he was Son of God or anything like that.
Okay. Do y'all have I don't know if I should say this, like maybe a Darwinian scientific lean to your beliefs, just like total science, total...
Atheists support science, serious science, though, and without the emotion or bias.
I believe in the scientific method because science is the search for truth, and it applies to everything, and
we feel it's a whole lot more reliable, and it has proven to be more reliable throughout history than religious pursuit of truth.
It's a good thing to test. If you're going to say that something is true, and it matters, if it matters to you, if it's really true, test it. And then once you've tested it, you move on. And one of the problems that we see with religion is that the same ideas will come up and they'll become a problem and they'll fade away and then they come up again. In science, what you have is a progression, and once a theory, let's say, is put to rest, it's put to rest, and they move on.
Okay. I guess the reason why I brought up Marxism is because
oh yes, I forgot.
I'm studying, Marxism in school and things like that, and it seemed like at the turn of the century and maybe like in the 1880s, 1890s, it seemed like a lot of Marxists were, they were atheists, because I guess they were against the bourgeois or whatever. That's why I brought that up, and I just wanted to see how y'all felt about that.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of callers waiting in line there. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Buster on line 1.
Howdy.
Good morning, Buster.
Good morning.
On this, the Ten Commandments issue in the court.
Yes.
Now, this I find fascinating because in a very obvious way, it's church and state.
Right.
We have a problem. But I believe you'll agree that the Bible is a historical document.
No.
You don't? No. I mean, it is. Take religion away, it's there. It is a document of the past.
It is a document.
It's
That's right. And there is
a very historical, fictional document, sure. But,
anyway, the Ten Commandments were a sort of early used justice system, and I can see where this would be a big argument on that side. That, in other words, if you have the beginning of the book of Genesis up on the wall, no question, it's completely irrelevant.
Well, what about the first commandment? I'll have no Lord God before me, or what? There's different versions.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that at all.
So obviously, that first one, that's more than a law. That there is telling you,
but it was a justice system that was under religion. I'm just saying I can see how this is going to drag out because I can see that point coming out.
Then why those particular 10 laws? We have thousands and thousands of laws on the books.
But those are very well known. It's an early, well known.
The problem is, there are several problems with it. First of all, it's also very well opposed. You'll find some of the larger major religions in the world won't have anything to do with it. When it was first made, you're talking about a very small minority of religious people out in the middle of a desert who, and if you read the commandments themselves, the original ones in Hebrew, even way back then from the very beginnings, were poorly written, poorly thought out. The first 4 are for religious purposes only and really shouldn't belong in any public place that's paid for by taxpayers, but especially a courtroom. The very first commandment and the very first amendment to the U.S. Constitution are exact opposites. I am the Lord your God. You will not have any other gods before me. How much more of a violation of religious freedom do we need to hear? That is the ultimate.
That's right. Not everybody supports religious liberty.
But you had a point, caller. I'm sorry. We got.
Oh, it's simply that I'm not endorsing the actual point I'm making. I'm just saying that I see this dragging that particular case out forever.
Hopefully not. This gentleman's been going since '94. We've got other news from other states that this is all going. So hopefully, one of them will make it to the Supreme Court, and that will settle them all, from what I understand the way the legal system handles it. And
hopefully.
But we do appreciate your call.
Okay, I think one thing, though, we should leave it in Mel Brooks movies.
15.
Thanks, guys.
The Life of Brian, yes, thank you.
10.
Charles on line 2 here.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Real good.
I caught part of your show last week, or last weekend, and you made a comment, the gentleman in the middle made a comment that we're all born atheists. Oh. Would it be a little more accurate to say that we're born agnostic, since we really don't know, and atheism is a learned belief, same way with any religious?
I don't think atheism is a learned belief. And if it depends on how you define things. I mean,
right. That's quite right.
I really kind of addressed it to you, but
that's right.
But if you define atheism as not believing in God, infants don't have that belief. They're taught.
And agnosticism doesn't work because it also has presuppositions that exist about the supernatural. The idea that there's got to be something out there but we can't know is already more than the atheist philosophy that starts from scratch, as an infant would, with a completely clean, ready-to-go brain without something already indoctrinated into it.
I think when the human being is born like that, their natural curiosity is going to say, now why does that sun keep coming up every day like this on a regular basis? And if nobody's around to give them an answer, they'll make up their own answer. they'll come up with a sun god, a moon god, and everything else like we did.
Right.
So
or nothing, or just be in ignorance, which is a great place for religion to.
Yeah. So you brought up an interesting point, whether or not atheism is actually born or learned, and we think that you're born that way. Well, I do, and it's just your own curiosity trying to answer, and that you'll accept the answers that are actually given to you from an authoritative figure like your parents, and so and that's usually where the religious part comes in.
A lot of people are born into atheist homes, though, and raised by parents who never try to indoctrinate any kind of superstition on them.
Right.
So instead, what they're getting is the realism from the very beginning. As far as the heavy questions, why does the sun come up? Well, it's not a god. Guess what? Let's talk about cosmology and the sun itself and reality, instead of coming up with a superstition.
Right. Also, and then how does the atheist explain the beginning of time? Where did it all start? Because I know that your beliefs are founded a lot on science. Like you said, the true science, that's where you find truth.
Yeah, I'm sure, again, you're going to run into different interpretations on what the scientific evidence is. I like the ever-expanding one where it's actually going to reach the point where it's going to collapse back on itself. Right. So we have the same amount of matter that's going through a cycle from Big Bang to Big Crunch, back and forth. There's a lot of science out there that will actually disagree with that, saying that we don't have enough matter here to bring us back together, that we're going to be an ever-expanding universe. So there's still a lot of debate on the actual where the time began. My own personal belief is that it's always been here, will always be here, and we're just at one little speck of time here on the cosmic scale, right, and we're just riding the cycle out myself.
Well, yeah, I think the matter will always be here. It's hard to say how time started, though, because we can never go back, and it's probably something beyond our comprehension anyway, if there was a beginning of the time.
Which is kind of an agnostic thing, is beyond compression.
That's about the beginning of time, but we know time exists.
Right. See, I also kind of believe in the compression expansion theory. I'm just wondering, when did that all start and who created that? I happen to be kind of part agnostic, part apathetic. I'm, don't really have any care for religion. It's kind of a weird thing, but I'm open to a lot of things, and that's why I caught part of your show last week, and a friend of mine was staying over and walked in while I was watching the show, and I thought I freaked her out, but she was okay with it. I'm just open to a lot of views. I'm uncertain as to what I really believe at this point in my stage in life. I'm kind of agnostic at this point, but don't really actively search.
Well, come on down, and we have our own library there, and we have a lot of contact with other atheists all over the nation, American atheists. We're more than willing to educate anyone who's has an open mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you guys.
You have a good morning.
You too.
Ooh. I would say continue to explore.
I'm sorry, Steve.
We killed Steve. Sorry. Call back.
Sorry, Steve. Call back.
Steve on line 3 actually got wiped out there. I'm sorry.
Johnny on 1.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, how you doing?
Real good. Sorry again, Steve. I'm sorry. I'm learning these buttons here. Please call back. Johnny, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering. You say you're ethical and moral people.
Yes.
Try to be.
Who do you aspire to be like? Your role models?
That's an excellent question.
Excellent.
That's a good. I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head there.
I'd like to be like Carl Sagan was.
There's an excellent.
That was a brilliant man.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't. I don't understand.
Carl Sagan,
the scientist that just recently died.
Also, Barbara Jordan was a great role model for me, and my daughter also is really interested in Barbara Jordan.
Barbara Jordan.
Mark Twain, exactly. Thomas Edison, brilliant thinkers.
I was trying to think someone alive.
I understand you really don't acknowledge the word sin, right?
We think it's a religious concept that, so we don't really use the word. It's either against the law or not.
So do you guys have a conscience?
Yes, we have ethics, if you're wondering. Yeah, atheists have ethics. Those are morals without the religion. Most of us were taught them by our parents and teachers, people who brought us up, and you'll find that with atheists, we are able to do the right thing ethically and in the same spirit as the Golden Rule.
So whom do you measure your ethics towards? Who judges you, your ethics and morals?
The people I associate with every day, the police, the legal system, but mainly my circle of friends and family that if I'm not a good, ethical, moral person and live up to my word and everything else, they're going to stop associating with me. I'm going to lose friends. They're not going to want me as part of the group. And so
parental upbringing is very strong there.
So, in other words, you can only aspire to your own feelings or your own thoughts and
other people's too.
My own personal goal here is to become the best citizen of Austin and the United States, and so I'm out there voting on all the issues. I try to be educated, give an educated vote to those issues, and just try to make my neighborhood and my friends and family and everybody else a better place for them. And I'm running out of words there. I'm sorry.
So I guess when all the human morals and ethics are around you, you see, you can't aspire to anything but the human feelings and thoughts. I take it.
Well,
when you run out of
as a human, then we're sort of limited, I think, to having human feelings.
Well, and about human ethics, because no other creature can tell you about their ethics than a human.
Right.
So we have to have our own ethics for humans, and as well as treating non-humans ethically and with respect. But it's in the same spirit as the Golden Rule, and the Golden Rule requires no religion.
And also, if we don't drag along the religious baggage...
Isn't the Golden Rule written by God?
Well, somebody in the Bible said it, but it is definitely not original to Christianity or religion.
Yes. But the point I was going to say, a lot of religions bring along bigotry and everything else to where they're saying that their answers are the only right answers and no one else can be involved, and they won't associate with... there's a lot of religions out there that won't allow you to associate with other religions. We can be a moral, ethical person without all that baggage, bigotry and everything else that a lot of religions carry on.
It's been my experience with a lot of religious people that the more religious they are, the less ethical or respectful they have for faith. There's a lot of people, of course not all of them, and I don't want to attack Christians solely, but it has been said that ethics it is something that it's fundamental to people before they ever learn about religion.
Well, in all due respect, what's the difference between you and any animal, a dog? You say you have other role models. I'm sure dogs learn things from other dogs. You learn things for humans only. And
it sounds to me like Johnny thinks that
no, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I mean
are kind of
animals.
And more
what's the difference between animals and you guys?
And people that are not religious are sort of like dogs. Am I hearing you right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that what you're saying?
I'm a distant from the TV, so say that again?
It sounds like you're saying that religious people, I assume you're a religious person, right?
I'm Christian.
Okay. Sounds like you're saying that religious people are more moral, more ethical.
No, I didn't say that.
Between right and wrong.
I'm not saying that.
Who are kind of like animals. Is that right? I mean,
no, I'm not saying that.
Am I hearing that right or not?
But
no, I'm not saying that.
But I will answer your question. No, you're right. Humans are no more entitled to any place on this earth than any other animal that's on this earth. So if you're going to put me in the same class as a dog, I have no problem whatsoever with that. Because we're just a bunch of carbon-based molecules that have evolved to the place that we are. But that doesn't mean that this earth was put here for us by some superior being just for us to take, rape and pillage and take advantage of this planet to where we're almost ready, we've almost used this planet up here at the rate we're going.
I wanted to say there was one difference in the behavior of a non-human animal and the behavior of a human, and one way to decipher the two is that non-human animals have instinct already born in to govern their behavior. And humans do not have nearly as much instinctive behavior governed into them.
Well, I disagree with you totally.
A lot of humanity is governed by its environmental influences. It's not just nurture, it's also nature.
Humans and animals are basically same in instance. But the question I have for you guys is...
okay, and then we'll move on to some other callers, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you can't inspire yourself or aspire to anything other than an animal or human, then there's no room for growth. And so you guys are going to levitate at the same level far as it comes to morals and ethics. You don't feel any shame about that?
I don't think there's any higher creature in existence than a human, so there isn't much of a more intelligent thing we can aspire to be.
Or at least
your mind can take you anywhere while you limiting your thoughts.
Inside the limits of your cranium.
Okay, thank you for your call. Appreciate it.
We've got some other callers. Thanks a lot for calling.
Excellent call. And, sorry about that, but we do have a lot of others.
We got Steve back.
Is that? I wonder if that's. We'll try. Oh, it's a different Steve. Well, let's go right down the line. Let's go with Sarah.
Steve, what's the question? Okay.
Steve.
Hi, this is Steve.
Yes.
This is Steve.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Hi. Okay. Yeah, I know. I used to be a public access producer down there 10 years ago. I know how that can go. I was wondering, have any of you ever heard of a book or read a book called "Scientists Who Believe"? 21 Tell Their Own Stories by Eric C. Barrett and David Fisher.
I've heard of it. I've not read it.
It sounds like one I'd like to read. I'm not familiar with it at all.
I have shown that book to several of my friends who were former members of Miss O'Hare's organization in town, and they've all quit the organization. I have a science background myself, and a number of members of my family do. And while I've read a lot of your literature, and I'm in agreement with you on a lot of what you say, I think all organized religion is bull dada. I've studied books like, when I was in England, I studied a book called The Battle for the Mind, the original book by William Sargent, who was he published that in 1957, and he had studied war neurosis and Pavlovian techniques, and two of the chapters in that book are the techniques of religious conversion and application of religious techniques. And there's also a chapter called the technique of eliciting confessions. And it's well known, the psychiatric techniques that are used by a lot of TV preachers and a lot of born-again preachers are completely manipulative. It's hypnosis, it's brainwashing. The ability of human beings to be hypnotized against their will is well documented in thousands of studies. But the one thing that is important to me about this book and a couple of other publications is that there seems to be a conspiracy to get people to completely drop all kinds of spirituality and religious belief. William Sargent, in the end of his book, made a very forceful statement that he believed that there were two types of conversion, the manipulative type and a real conversion that comes through real spiritual experience. Right. And he also said that man needs God. A lot of the problems that people have psychiatrically today are a result of the humanist manifesto of a meaningless existence that we came from nowhere. And
I've never found any substance to the attack on the
And we can also pull up a lot of psychiatric patients that are in there because of the religious.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And those are the people
that they grew up with.
I agree with you. And those are the people who were victimized by preachers using the battle for the mind techniques. And 9 times out of 10, you will find that the preachers who use the battle for the mind techniques actually don't believe themselves.
Do me a favor, mention that book again, because if it's converting atheists, I got to read it.
It's called Scientists Who Believe, 21 Tell Their Own Stories. It's by Eric C. Barrett and David Fisher.
And
I can give you the first argument in the book real quick if you want to hear it.
Quickly.
The first one has to do with the entropy argument, and the theory of entropy states that everything in a closed system
I can answer that one.
will eventually end up in total disorder.
Right.
And current physics believes that the universe we live in is an expanding universe that started from the Big Bang and is therefore a closed system.
Right.
And that it's been around so long that everything should have degenerated into a vast sea of cosmic dust by now if the law of entropy were to completely hold true. Now, they admit to the existence of another force, okay, that keeps the universe from totally dissolving into a sea of cosmic dust. And the Russian physicist, who was the first of the 21 to believe in the book, argues how he came to believe that this organizing, this counter-entropy force would have to be non-materialistic, because if it was materialistic, it would be subject to the laws of entropy too, and it too would have disorganized into absolute nothingness. And that's very simplified.
You're expanding way beyond. The second law of thermodynamics is not applicable in reality. Therefore, entropy is an empty argument. Any argument for or against entropy should never be said, because it's just that is not a viable argument. It's so old too. And we have some other callers. Can we go to those?
I will read that book. Call me back
too next week.
Thank you for your call. Appreciate it very much.
Okay, Christy on line 3. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for holding.
I just found out a few days ago that you were on the live. That I don't know when you started, but I've been waiting all morning.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been on the air?
We just started January 11th.
Okay.
So.
Well, anyway, first of all, I have to congratulate you to have the guts to come on live, because this is a very, it can be a very heated subject. And
thank you. It's a learning experience for all of us, isn't it?
It started out sort of slow, and I was feeling kind of nervous for you, because I didn't know how this was going to turn out. But you know, my observation is, I congratulate you guys. I think everyone's been behaving pretty well. I think the audience has been wonderful.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a positive thing for our community, and I'm looking forward to watching you every week.
Well, thank you. Come on down to one of our meetings.
Okay, thanks.
Good morning.
We're on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., Channel 16.
Okay, we'll go to Shelley on line 2.
Hi, I was just listening to the person that was talking about,
or
I guess you guys are saying how
I'm laughing at my floor manager. I'm sorry.
Is what can lead a person to be the way they are, and I disagree. I believe it has to do with free will. What do you feel about free will in a person who is a Christian or non-Christian? I mean, environmental factors. Many people are molested as children and don't become molesters. Many people are children of alcoholic parents and don't. I believe human beings are beyond animals for the simple fact they have free will.
Well, they have self-awareness and a higher level intelligence than any other animal.
Intelligence can hurt you.
The point I was trying to make there is our position on Earth is no more exalted than any other animal here on this planet. They deserve every right to be here. And present information I've been reading is that we spend 40% of the caloric output on this Earth right now is going towards human beings. There's no other time in the Earth history that any other species has controlled this planet the way Earth does, the way humans are controlling the Earth right now. And we're not doing a good job about it because of the religious influence.
Well, okay, now my question is, though, if you look at the civilizations that are no longer, all of them have done things that have caused them to be destroyed. And we as humans today, once again, are going to do that again. And if you don't have some kind of hope, you're repeating your history. We haven't changed, we haven't become civilized in the true meaning of the word.
The desire to survive, believe me, is very strong in me, and I want the civilization to survive. And one of the scariest things to happen in my lifetime, and I've had some scary things, but one of the scariest things was when Pat Robertson was making a run for the presidency. A man who believes that he has a role to play in the end of the earth, the end of civilization. Now, I realize that from a religious person's perspective...
I'm not religious, I'm a Christian. Different. There's a very big difference.
Okay.
There really is.
We're running out of time, but I must hear the explanation quickly, please. What's the difference between a Christian and a...
who believes in Christ studies the teaching of Jesus. A person who's religious is like a Pharisee or a Sadducee, a person who just wants the power.
I would say that if there is any supernatural existence in your belief system, you qualify as a person who is religious.
Well, I disagree, but thank you.
And we must Thank you. And we must... Oh, we lost Steve. I'm sorry, Steve. Jeff? Line.
We have Jeff.
Hello.
Caller.
Hi.
Hello, this is Ed.
Ed?
Ed.
We have Ed. That's quite all right.
Ed is good.
Good morning, Ed.
Hi. I had a question for, I think it's Joe, the one with the daughter.
Yes, hello.
I was just wondering, since I'm an atheist too, and I have some concern about these matters. I don't have a child myself, but when I think about having one, I wonder, what would be the best thing to do around times like Christmas, when you have to deal with things such as the Santa Claus issue and that sort of
thing. Great question.
First, I would have to say, because it has been a big part of my thinking and my situation with my children over the years, I would say, first and foremost, try to get along with your family and try to make peace out of a situation that may seem completely hopeless. But however, explain in a polite and respectful way to whomever has a problem with your non-belief or not pushing their belief on you or your children, that you don't need it, and that it is actually something you prefer to be not around, and your children especially, because you care and love about them, love them. It's very important, though, that when you're talking to a religious person in your family about that, you make sure that you're not flying off the handle like it's a harebrained scheme that'll be here today and gone tomorrow. I took years and years and years of introspection and thought about my children before I said anything to my mother, who's religious, and to my ex-wife. And since it's an odd situation, I don't live with them. We're divorced, and I'm very close to them still, though. I don't have the control to be able to go into that household, into that family, and dictate what I want and what I don't want. So I have to take sort of a hands-off approach, explain politely and respectfully how I feel, but let them know that I disagree with the religion interfering with my children's upbringing.
I have a daughter also, and
I was wanting to get Steve on, but that's all right. Go ahead.
I have a little bit different perspective. Joe doesn't celebrate Christmas, and in my family we do. We don't celebrate it as a religious holiday. We've worked really hard to make our daughter aware that to us it's not a religious holiday. It's part of the culture, and we have fun with it.
All right. Sorry, Steve now. Yeah, let me try to get Steve on. Yes,
thank callers are the greatest.
Yes. Let's see if we can get Steve on here before it ends here.
Yeah, this is me.
I'm sorry I lost. Right. Is this the same one I lost earlier?
You lost me twice.
I'm sorry about that. We're new at this. Quickly, we're running out of time.
Okay, I want to backpedal here to the spot where you were talking about when we were born. And that Christianity is a learned behavior.
Yes.
And we're born atheists. Aren't we born ignorant? We don't know one way or the other.
That's exactly what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so you can't be born an atheist either.
But all atheist means, though, is without the religion already in your mind.
So if they're ignorant of God, they're at least one way of defining it, they're atheists.
Yeah, there's no positive philosophy other than that in atheism, except for ethical philosophies. But the basic not having a belief system at the very core of the definition of atheism is what we're talking about with a newborn.
Okay, but you wouldn't know anything about being an atheist when you're born. Not a thing. Somebody in your household, in your life, somewhere down the line has to tell you about it and teach you that.
I doubt if a newborn would know how to say atheist or spell it or have any idea what it means.
And all your calls?
From the Atheist Community of Austin.
Atheist Community of Austin here. Yes, and as we're closing out here, we got a couple more news articles that we thought was interesting. Dubious salvations. In January in Jerusalem, self-described mystic Rabbi David Batsarai offered specialized blessings in person or by telephone for those who have sinned by masturbation, which he said is the principal cause of demons. Also, we have pro football. Sheen Gilbert set out the 1997 season because Washington Redskins had offered him only $20 million over the next 5 years. $1 million a season less than the figure came to him last summer, he said, as a revelation from God. These are actual people out there that are actually talking to God on a regular basis and making their life decisions on this. And we definitely find a lot of humor in that. We still got... We haven't closed out completely here yet.
371-2911.
Give
Yes,
us a
and
call.
we also have Kilbourne County Commissioner.